على بيانه وأعطي الكلمة الآن إلى ممثل.
I thank the representative of Kenya for his statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation. Mr. President, we thank today's briefers for the information they have provided. Russia was among the first countries to support Antonio Guterres' appeal for a global ceasefire from the 23rd of March 2020. We call for the strict compliance with Council Resolution 2532. We continue to signal the need for an immediate cessation of hostilities and a humanitarian pause in conflict zones, which, however, should not apply to operations against internationally recognized terrorist groups. Unfortunately, the full implementation of the resolution's provisions has stalled. In particular, in various hotspots around the world, fierce clashes are continuing, including those that are stoked from the outside. We can see some terrorist groups trying to benefit from the situation in order to win an advantage on the ground. It's important to keep in mind that a ceasefire is not the only thing called for in Security Council Resolution 2532. In particular, it supports the Secretary-General's appeal for the lifting of illegal unilateral sanctions, which limit the ability of countries, in particular developing countries and LDCs, to respond to the challenges of the spread of the virus and its socio-economic impacts. It is disappointing that a group of states remain stubbornly attached to illegitimate and inhumane unilateral restrictions that have been adopted in circumvention of the Security Council. In this connection, we recall the initiative of the President of the Russian Federation to establish green corridors that would be free of trade wars and sanctions for the delivery of vital goods and medicines to those countries that need them. Mr. President, we would like to note the professionalism of UN peacekeepers and the staff of UN special political missions, who are continuing to do their duty honorably despite the extremely difficult circumstances. We are pleased that the Blue Helmets are continuing to provide comprehensive support to host governments to combat the epidemic. Now more than ever, it is important that the uninterrupted delivery of humanitarian assistance be ensured to the most vulnerable stratas of the population. At the same time, that work must be done on the basis of full respect for the sovereignty of recipient states and without any prior conditions. That is to say, in strict accordance with the guiding principles for humanitarian assistance and General Assembly Resolution 46/182. In this context, we express our concern that there are increasingly efforts being made to remove these fundamental provisions from resolutions renewing the mandates of UN peacekeeping operations. We agree with the arguments in Resolution 2532 concerning the need for an inclusive, comprehensive, and global response to the coronavirus pandemic, with the UN playing a coordinating role. And the unquestioned support of the World Health Organization remains relevant. It is the leading mechanism for mobilizing states' efforts to combat COVID-19. For its part, Russia continues to make the proper contribution to international efforts to combat the COVID-19 virus. We are working with the WHO, the WFP, the UNDP, and other organizations and mechanisms. As is well known, Russia created and registered the world's first vaccine against coronavirus, the Sputnik V vaccine. This has allowed us to provide assistance to countries that need it on a bilateral basis. In December 2020, our country launched a mass vaccination campaign. And the proposal of President Putin to provide the Russian vaccine to UN staff free of charge remains on the table. We stand ready for productive cooperation with all relevant partners in the interests of effectively combating the pandemic and preventing vaccine discrimination. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the representative